Welcome to Media Maniacs. I'm Russell Courier.
And I'm Jamie Hughes.
We review everything.
And we are just
crazy enough to do it. And I'm just crazy enough to get my hair cut.
You filled in my line. What was up with that?
Well, you gapped there. You had a gap there.
I was doing a dramatic pause.
Oh, I was
doing method on you. Okay.
Okay, I'll get it right the next time.
So, look, I hope this doesn't happen every time we do a show, but wow, another hit to the musical world happened just after we filmed our last program. And the passing of, legendary Eagle, Michigan native Glenn Frey. And I'm not even sure, did we have Glenn on our when we did our Michigan Artist? I think we did, but
if we didn't, we should have.
But I mean, from Royal Oak, went to Don Darrow and struck it out. Actually, became really, really good friends with Bob Seger. And the reason why he wasn't in Bob Seger's band, amusing story. Glenn's mom caught Bob and Glenn, let's just say, taking part in a little bit of a cannabis in the 70s, and she's like, no, you're not going to be with that guy. And really? I mean, his whole career could have totally been different if he would have became part of Silver Bullet. And but he actually struck out, went out with the Don Henley and the Eagles, and his mother still maintained a home in the Orion area.
Oh, really?
And, I have a unique story. I mean, I'm just not trying to, honestly, it's hard to believe. I was DJing weddings and parties at the time, and got the opportunity because my mom knew Glenn's mom to DJ Matt Frey's wedding. It was his wedding, okay. And I was like a little bit nervous because Glenn was kind of at his peak in his career. Yeah. And basically came to the wedding, and I went to put like a Glenn Frey Eagles tune on, and a very classy move this guy did. Comes up to me and he's like, I know what my mom probably said, but don't play any of my music or any of the Eagles music. It's my brother's wedding, and we should just go from there. But again, the passing of Glenn Frey with the Eagles, and
that's a really
sad
cool
passing.
story.
And then also you had another passing too.
Yeah, Alan Rickman from the Harry Potter series, from Die Hard, all these other great movies. Yeah, he was such a great actor. And I guess he had cancer too. I wasn't sure if it was. I think it was prostate cancer or something along those lines. Right. And it just. No one saw it coming, really.
Well, you did. I mean,
you
never
remember, see any of this coming.
Exactly. It's just like unexpected stuff.
And he was in Hollywood, I hear, 2 weeks before he got picked up for Die Hard. He was literally only there for just that short period of time, and then they're like, "You're hired."
Right. I mean, that was so quintessential. Him being the mastermind behind it. But
Hans Gruber.
Yeah, Hans Gruber.
Yeah. Anyway,
we can't say one of the lines in there, but I always like the one line.
Yeah, I know, the yippee-ki-yay.
Yeah. Okay. So, anyways, we're on. What's our? We got. Oh, look, we upgraded our prop.
Not just the magic popcorn bucket.
The magic popcorn bucket, and we are talking today about Leonardo DiCaprio movies. And I pulled the spoiler out, pulled my first few out here, but anyway, how do you like that? Pretty cool. Okay, so let's start out. What
your number 5 is Gangs of New York?
Yeah, one of my all-time favorites. I mean, we remember Leo getting a start back in television. I mean, back in Growing Pains and that, but one of my all-time favorites. I mean, is one of his movies, which I never really liked, maybe you did, but was What's Eating Gilbert Grape. Okay,
I still haven't seen it, but it seems like a really good
and that
movie.
was with Johnny Depp. But my favorite to start with, made the same year as my second favorite, is, or I should say number 5, is Gangs of New York. Great film. I tell you, it's if you have not seen this early Leonardo DiCaprio film, I mean, loaded with other stars. I mean, Daniel Day-Lewis, Cameron Diaz. I think
star-studded cast.
It is
10 Academy Awards, Best Picture.
Exactly.
Nice.
Gangs in New York, which I was a little bit surprised too upon doing research. You always think there's a little bit of a gap in between, but he made that movie in the same year as number 4 for me is Catch Me If You Can with Tom Hanks, where he actually portrayed a young man who was kind of, I guess you said, would go around and be an imposter, be a doctor.
Yeah, just committing fraud, really, just jumping from place to place.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So I've never seen it in its full. I've seen my sister and my mom watch it.
Yeah.
Caught a few times on TV. I need to watch it from beginning to end.
So what's your 5?
My 5, Inception.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, I have that kind of low on my list because there's these other movies of his that are kind of higher up, of course. Like, that's not saying that's my least favorite. It's saying that it's still a great movie, and it took me a couple times to watch it over, like, what is this, what am I missing here?
Right.
But the whole story of, him trying to get back to his kids and everything, that was something that kind of pulled me in. As an actor, he did a great job on that.
Yeah. So, what's your 4, since I already did 4?
The Man in the Iron Mask.
You know what? I saw that, and I had forgotten about that one, and that is so you.
Yeah, I love Three Musketeers, stories, and also the whole being split between two characters, the king and then the brother with the mask on. So it takes a good actor to split his mind in two to be two people. So that's, I just think that Leonardo DiCaprio is due for an Oscar. He just needs one right now.
I think, well, for sure, if you see his filmography on the list, it's unbelievable. Obviously we could talk about the one that you and I, but we decided not. The Titanic. He was in that. But my number 3 happened the same year as Inception. Did you remember Shutter Island?
Yes, I do remember Shutter Island. I did like it, but it just didn't make my top 5. That would have been my 6.
Wasn't that a thriller though? It just that was a good one. So I'm going to put that as my number 3.
My number 3 is Romeo and Juliet.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't seem the type.
I do like Shakespearean stories. I
find out something new about you every show.
I can quote the entire balcony. The entire soliloquy from the balcony scene.
Good job.
I had to learn it for high school, actually.
Were you Romeo?
Yeah, but soft with light 3 under window.
We're gonna have
breaks.
to do that. We're gonna have to have you doing reading. So really, I never would have thought that. That field.
Yeah, and just that whole take on it, and new, modern day story of something of 1600s, whatever, Verona or something, 1514. I can't remember what year.
Right.
It escapes me right now, but production really well. So what's your number 2?
Number 2, and I was tossed because one was a little bit newer and one was a little bit older, and I got kind of teased a little bit about this one because of being the last name, The Aviator.
Oh, yeah.
Hughes being the last name. He plays Howard Hughes. I think really when Leo gets these movies, he gets right into it and he becomes part of it, and he really adapted the part of what Howard Hughes was all about. Howard Hughes became, was a multimillionaire back in the day in the 30s and became a recluse or whatever you want to say, and almost like he was a germaphobe.
Germaphobe and agoraphobic. Agoraphobic, I believe, too, with hiding himself in his theater of watching his movies and everything.
Right, exactly. But Aviator was my what was your 2?
My 2, Wolf of Wall Street.
See, you're not going to tide on that one.
Though I didn't much care for the character he played towards the end because of the actions he made. He's the guy that you like to hate, really, because he's just that much of a jerk.
Right.
And
I think his cast around him in that film, like with
Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill kind of made that. What a great supporting actor in that film, right?
Yeah. So, what's your number 1?
Your number 2. So I can actually So my number 1 was your number 2.
Okay.
And it's going to lead me into another. I can give you another number 1, which will probably.
I
bet your number 1 is going to lead us into our next topic.
Yeah. My number 1 is Django Unchained.
Bingo. There you go. That's awesome.
I really enjoyed his performance there because very seldomly does he play the bad guy in a story.
And you really don't like him in that film.
Yeah, you really don't. But how there was one scene where he slammed his hand on the table, and he cut his hand wide open, and instead of just cut, my hand's cut, he just plays right through it. To me, that shows how determined of an actor he is. Just because his hand's bleeding doesn't mean he's just going to cut something just because, just because of his own personal pain.
That really happened, or
if you watch that over again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if he slams his hand on the table, you'll see he wraps his hand.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's his blood. Yeah.
Wow. And that, who directed that, I wonder?
Quentin Tarantino.
Why don't we talk about Quentin Tarantino movies in the next segment?
I think we will.
Okay.
Right. So join us when we come back. Welcome to Media Maniacs. I'm Russell Currier.
And I'm Jim Hughes.
We review everything.
We're just crazy enough to do it.
Yes, we are.
How are you? How you doing?
Doing good. And in the mystery, magic popcorn bucket.
That's a lot of popcorn going there. You know that, right?
Yeah, that would.
I've never been able to fill that thing.
I would probably split this with 3 people, probably 4 people at least. So, most, actually.
Does it have to be buttered?
Yes, it must be buttered. Or actually, no, what I do.
Do you ever? Okay.
I don't usually do peanut. I do peanut butter on my popcorn. Usually.
Stop, really?
I do.
Now let me ask you this. Okay, do you ever tell yourself going to a theater, going, okay, you eat before you go, I'm not having popcorn or soda, and you walk in, boom, hit you in the face, you got to buy it?
Actually, when I went to go see one Tarantino film recently, I didn't even buy any popcorn or anything.
Stop.
I ate before that. I ate before that, and I grabbed a bottle of water from a vending machine. Just went to go see the
There's something
movie.
in that air when that popcorn hits your nose. I got to have it. I don't care.
It's just you got to stop those urges and just be like, no.
Okay, so
Anyway.
enough about popcorn.
And more about Tarantino films.
Wow, good stuff. And that is one of what I thought was going to be the best thing he ever did.
Yeah, but he's got a lot of greats.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So to begin off with Tarantino films, we got to talk about the first big one he had, Reservoir Dogs. Have you seen Reservoir? Have you seen it?
No, I have not. I have not, but I knew about that one. I did know about that.
Yeah, that one I thought was really cool. With Tim Roth, I think is a really talented actor, and we've seen him recently in Selma.
Right.
And he's actually in one that came out recently, The Hateful Eight.
Right.
And just it's just mind-blowing. The same actors that Tarantino uses for every single one of his movies, from Pulp Fiction to Four Rooms, Jackie Brown, Kill Bill, Death Proof, every single one.
Right.
He uses just the same about 20 people, or it's just about.
Well, the core bit of actors.
Exactly, and they all do a great job all the way through, and then not just Tarantino's directing, but also in his writing.
Right. Okay.
Like, and From Dusk Till Dawn is one of my favorite movies. It's got George Clooney, and Tarantino plays an actor in that movie.
Right. I heard Quentin Tarantino interviewed on the local. I was telling you about this with Howard Stern. And we're going to probably talk about that coming up. Mm-hmm. But he likes to shoot his movies the old-fashioned way. In the, what is it, 16? Yeah.
I think I've heard 70 millimeters.
70. Like you used to shoot them. And he really stays away. Part of Hollywood, you got to, you subscribe to the digital. Mm-hmm. He doesn't like to do that. He likes to shoot it, and he likes to shoot it mostly in order if he can. Mm-hmm. And with schedules of actors and stuff like that. You got to be careful with that. And he said that that's how he likes to do his films. And
yeah, he likes to go with the traditional way with film, and just like every time I watch a movie of his, it seems like I'm sitting in like a 70s movie or something like that.
Right, right.
And he has his director trademarks, of course, with Red Apple cigarettes, Big Kahuna Burger. You've seen in like reference Pulp Fiction and all that, but also his style of going by chapter through movie.
Right.
Like
chapter 1. Yeah, okay.
Chapter
okay,
1, 2, 3, 4. Like you see in Kill Bill or any movie, like Inglourious Bastards.
Like you're reading a book.
Exactly. It's basically like that, like a Pulp Fiction. That's where the term Pulp Fiction came from.
Right. Exactly.
So yeah. And actually, some of the movies, most of his movies, I actually watched over the weekend. Like Four Rooms, I never watched, which he was a part director of. Have you ever seen that one?
I have not, but I like you said, there was a lot of things I haven't seen that I think I'm going to see, and there's a lot of things he was part of that he didn't even direct. Like he wrote a lot of stuff.
Yes, he did.
What a skewed writer, eh?
True Romance, he wrote. Wrote that. Natural Born Killers, he wrote the story for.
Yeah, and that was, Woody Harrelson was in that, right?
Yep, Woody Harrelson, Juliette Lewis, and Juliette Lewis was in another movie he wrote.
Right. Well, there's 2 films that you had already mentioned, and I never was the type, but once I'll watch it every time. Is Kill Bill Volume 1 and Volume 2.
Yes, those movies are so awesome. Blood and gore, like you usually see in the first movie with the crazy 88.
Right.
But and his trademark of putting things out of order, like, kind of gets you thinking. And that's the thing. When usually you watch a movie, you're just sitting watching and it's just soaking in, instead of just actually taking it apart and you're like, how does this go about? You're actually thinking, what's this movie going towards, so
doing a little research on this. Like I say, I don't really have a top 5 with him. I just don't. I just like everything he's done, but
I love everything he's done.
Okay, the thing, did you know that he was a writer in 95, which I just found this out? Crimson Tide.
Really?
Writer on Crimson Tide, yes, 1995.
I did not know that.
It doesn't seem like him.
I've never actually seen Crimson Tide. I don't think I have.
Good film. It's a good film. Actually, a good film. Another good one. I mean, the one that you always hear people talk about is the one you basically pulled out of our prop bucket was Pulp Fiction, and I mean Samuel Jackson, unbelievable.
And I found out he actually did some little bits roles in newer films too.
Okay.
Like after Jackie Brown, you thought he kind of dropped off.
Right.
But in Kill Bill 2, he played a small role like the piano player in the church.
Okay.
Yeah, when they were doing the wedding rehearsal thing.
Yeah,
and he's the piano player.
And then he was unrecognizable. Like in the last segment, we were talking about Leo films, the Django.
Oh, Django.
I mean, you would never, until you hear that voice, you would never know that it was him.
Yeah, they put a bit of makeup on him. Put a fake hair around him, give that bald-headed look. What was it? Jamie Foxx called him Snowball in the movie.
Yeah,
that was funny.
Right.
But also, he did a little voiceover in the movie Inglourious Bastards.
Oh, I didn't know that either. I love that film too.
That was a really good one too.
Yeah, there was 2 of those made, like an early one, which I made the mistake of renting. I'm like, what was so good about this? And then all of a sudden I realized I rented the wrong one.
Yeah, and I found out there was an older one of that.
Yeah, with the newer one with, of course. Oh God, I'm blanking on the actor now.
Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt, yeah.
Yeah, Brad Pitt, Christoph Waltz, and just a bunch of other great. Oh, wasn't Eli Roth in that movie too?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, that movie just. I was surprised to see how it ended because I wasn't thinking that Tarantino was going to change history in that story at all. In Inglourious Basterds. I'm just going to leave it at that. No spoilers, but that.
And that led to that actually led to. Why am I blanking on his name again? Who was the actor again for that?
Brad Pitt?
Yeah, Brad. He went on to make another movie about a tank, which, I mean, that kind of like...
Fury.
Fury, that spurred that role. So, yeah, so if you get a chance, check that out.
I've been wanting to, especially...
If you like Inglourious Basterds, you're definitely going to like Fury.
I bet I will. And let's see here, Django Unchained, as I was saying, my number 1 favorite. I found out there was an old version of Django. I found out. I was at a comic book store and I was looking around and I saw like a 1950s, 1960s.
Didn't know that.
Western movie.
I'll tell you, he has a lot of great stuff. And I mean, I think the one actor that he really kind of embraces, and we all know, is Samuel Jackson.
True. I guess he just loves it whenever he comes up in front of the camera and just swears all the time, really.
Exactly. I mean, the best scenes are that we can't really talk about. It's all over the place. And,
yeah. Watch Tarantino films.
Exactly.
That's all we need.
Which leads us
to our next segment of The Hateful Eight, which you should come back and watch that review of
on
Media Maniacs.
We'll be right back.
Canine Stray Rescue is Oxford's own local dog rescue. Each year, they take in hundreds of dogs and bring them into suitable homes. A certified nonprofit organization, Canine Dog Rescue strives to give pound dogs a new leash on life. To donate, adopt, or even volunteer, call them at 248-628-0435 or go to their website, dogsaver.org, and click on the Canine Stray Rescue League link.
Welcome to Media Maniacs. I'm Russell Currier.
I am Jamie Hughes.
We review everything and weird.
Just crazy enough to do it. We do it all the time and we like doing it. It's our job. We enjoy it. I got something to ask you.
What's that?
I was always telling you, like, why do you always put your paper in front of your face and you got a music stand here? Where'd you get it?
Actually, my grandfather, back when I was about 12 years old.
That's his music stand.
I got a new one for Christmas from my dad.
Is that going to be a regular part of the show?
It will be. It's going to be.
I think it actually looks really cool.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how it was going to work out. I had it over here, and I'm like, no, it's kind of blocking me. But I'm having.
And that way you don't put it in front of your face.
Exactly. None of this stuff.
Well, see your face.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I actually have a Media Maniacs notebook now. So
wait, hold on. I didn't get one. I gotta buy one.
Actually, I stole this from my sister, so.
Borrowed it.
No.
We left that last segment, Quentin Tarantino, and Hateful Eight is out and about, and
it's almost out of theaters now. It's not playing in Oxford anymore.
Real fast, and I hate to go back on this one, but we kind of have to talk about what about Leo's movie that just came out, and I mean,
we didn't talk about that. Yeah, you're right.
Okay, I mean, real fast. I mean, let's talk about that. I mean, my parents saw it last night.
Okay. My dad saw it too.
Didn't like it.
They didn't like.
They were just like. It was nowhere, and I'm like, I don't know. I mean, sometimes my parents don't always have, but they were there, and they said they didn't. I mean, did you see it?
No, we're talking about The Revenant. I didn't see it. My dad saw it, and he told me it was really good. And as a person like me who doesn't like much special effects, I like practical effects.
Right.
I hear that there was little to no CGI in this movie at all.
Okay.
As mostly practical effects. That's just hearing that pulled me to want to go see it.
Well, I just figured we should mention that since that's out with Hateful Eight right now.
If I saw that, I probably would have changed up my top 5.
I would have probably thought Hateful Eight would have cleaned up at the not cleaned up, maybe done well at the Golden Globes, and it was Leo's movie that did it. I'm like. How'd that movie do so well? And it just came out. I didn't understand how that worked. But, I don't know.
I need to get a frame of reference. I got to go see the movie.
I guess you and I we'll both go see it. Maybe we can do a review next or a show ahead or something like that.
Something like that.
But anyways, talking about the Hateful Eight.
Yeah. I saw it Saturday, and I was literally at the edge of my seat, scratching my chin, like, what's going to happen next, and who is the guy saying that they're not? It's like...
Didn't you came up with so many scenarios? I mean, look at, Bruce Dern in that film.
Yeah, that's the second... he was in Django as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and just see him as that old guy just sitting in the chair wearing the
old officer.
Yeah.
And then, haven't seen this guy in a long time, and used to be a Disney favorite back when he was a younger actor, Kurt Russell. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if you're a big Western fan, but Tombstone was a really good one. I do
like Tombstone, yes. I like Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday and all that. I love that, the old stories. I'm a history guy too.
Right, yeah. Kurt Russell, he makes that film awesome.
Yeah, my, let's see here, besides, say, what was it, The Thing, my other 2 favorites with Kurt Russell have to be Big Trouble in Little China.
Right, that's a good film.
And one I told you about before, Sky High.
If you ever want to catch an early Kurt Russell, and I don't even know if you can, I don't even know if they would make a DVD of it, but he made when he was probably in his teens, a movie with Disney called The Computer That Wore Tennis Shoes.
I've heard of that movie.
And it was we're talking at the early inception of computers and all that.
Didn't that have the brother from Growing Pains too? I'm pretty sure.
I'm not quite sure, but I know Kurt was in that, and
okay.
Disney. He was he was Disney's favorite at the time.
Okay.
And
well, let's get to, that's really cool. Yeah. I like that. Well, let's get started about Hateful Eight. With the Hateful Eight, it starts off, well, basically in the middle of nowhere in the winter. And Samuel L. Jackson is...
What a snowstorm.
Yeah, this carriage is just running away from this blizzard coming through. And they come across, Samuel L. Jackson playing Major Marcus Warren.
Right.
And he's trying to get on this carriage because he's got 3 bodies that are, up for Warren. Yeah, exactly. And his horse died, and then he goes up and meets Kurt Russell, which I thought he was pretty funny in that movie.
Right.
And he had trusted absolutely no one, which, in this movie... he shouldn't have trusted anyone.
Right.
And having Jennifer Jason Leigh as Daisy Domergue.
Oh, wow.
Hooked to him the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh, I got to talk about one thing. The Lincoln letter scene in the carriage.
Right.
And he's talking, just a little spoiler here, just saying that.
Spoiler.
Marcus Warren was a pen pal with Abraham Lincoln, so he had this Lincoln letter.
Right.
So Kurt Russell wanted to see this letter, and so he's looking at it, and he goes to this Daisy Domergue, Jennifer Jason Leigh's character, who is another Warren, but she's going to be hung in Red Rock and not killed anything, and she looks at it and she spits right on the page, and just the look on Samuel L. Jackson's face, just and then. Boom! Just knocks her right out, flying out of the carriage.
I think Kurt Russell hits her, right?
No.
I elbowed her.
No, well, yeah, he did that. She kept getting her ass beat the whole movie, yeah. But it was Samuel L. Jackson's character who knocked her out. She flew out the carriage, and she's chained to Kurt Russell, and he flies out, nearly dislocating his shoulder.
Wow.
I was just like, wow, that was something just way out of left field. I thought that was kind of funny and all. Yeah. It's just, sometimes just physical comedy is just hilarious to me.
Right.
And this movie, just all around, I think, yeah, as you said before, top. Beats Pulp Fiction, number 1.
I didn't think Samuel Jackson could top himself in a Tarantino film, and I thought, it'll be my all-time favorite Pulp Fiction, but I tell you, this one here is. I mean, I'm going to tell you this too. Okay, if you don't go to the theater and see it, and you wait till it comes out on wherever it comes out, wherever you watch your movies. Probably not a kids' night movie, okay?
No.
Put the kids to bed, and you definitely want to be, it's an adult film, okay?
Yeah, lots of blood and gore in this movie, lots of swearing.
Yeah, so to tell you right off the bat, I mean, like any of Quentin Tarantino's films, probably more adult-oriented. And
like most of them, yeah.
And again, if you maybe go see it at the theater, you might not like it either, but I don't know, I thought it was kind of a cool Western, and the elements and everything all melded into one.
Yeah, very true. It's really great movie, and I was literally thinking, Michael Madsen's character of what was it, Joe Gage. I was thinking it has to be him because usually he plays the jerk, like in Reservoir Dogs.
Right.
But it's like it could be someone else or something. It can't just be the red herring. You have to. As I was just trying to figure out who's the red herring, who really did it, what's all going on here in this one cabin. Which actually, this reminds me of another. As I said, The Thing. This reminded me of The Thing with Kurt Russell.
Right.
Because it's all caught in middle of snow in one place, and they're thinking one of them isn't who they are, and they're all and one of them's lying. So I'm like, this seems a little similar, like to that.
It's almost like going back to the mysteries, like Murder on the Orient Express or something. You're trying to figure out who's really the bad guy in the film, or who's really everybody has their own agenda and what they're going to do and all that, and it's kind of the magic of the entire film. And
and one thing I was talking to someone about was how they had the 70 millimeter like wide lens. And
I was going to go right there, and he shot that in that, and they basically had to re-outfit the theaters that it was being shown in because of the movie theaters now are all it's digital, okay? And he's like, look, if you don't want to take my movie, then they put a lot of money into just the idea of showing this film.
Yes, and the reason I feel that they did the wide angle is so you can see things out of the peripheral vision.
Now, how will that transpire? Okay, I mean, I don't know much about this, but how is that going to, when it gets to, let's say, DVD, is that going to work when it goes on DVD like that? I mean, are you going to be able to...
There's probably going to be like two different settings, like normal, like boxed in, or
but
the
I think you'd have to watch it like that, though, right?
That would be the way to watch it, because I was looking in those sides, like there's something going on in the back I'm missing. So, and
the elements itself, I mean, the darn storm is like a pain in the dupa,
Yeah, very true.
Yeah,
and it's just. This movie just had so many left turns.
It did. You need to go out and see it. Yes. I got to talk before we close out of here on the show. The show always goes fast, and you and I are always over the board. But and I think I'm going to go see it now because I like the promo. It's Batman versus Superman. It looks like we only got a minute here, but that promo, I'm going to go.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Remember I told you I wasn't going to go.
Yeah. Now, I remember your reasoning why was because, it was like Freddy versus Jason or something.
Right.
I saw that.
I still don't like that.
One of my favorites. But yeah, Batman vs. Superman, just showing just some of the recent stuff that's come out, it's just making me want to go see it even more. Wow. Especially with, seeing Batman, like, actually do the voice and everything.
It's March 25th, I think it comes out.
I think you're right on that.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
See, I didn't see it. It was good.
2 more months, and I've been waiting over a year for this movie, so I'm really excited to go see this.
Looks like we got to close this little puppy out for this day. I want to take time. We don't even thank him enough. He always helps us out. Our man in the back, Kyle, he's back there, and he makes us look good.
Yeah, he doesn't talk much, so, we appreciate what you do, Kyle.
And anyways, before we close out, anything you want to say? Or
we'll leave an aisle seat open for you, and watch Media Maniacs.
See you next time.